everybody. Welcome back to the Darktower server. This is Dadrocks1. I'm going to be your host today for a brief sort of world tour. It's not going to be the lovely spawn area with all of its fantastic builds or these giant mobs over here. Today I'm going to showcase my builds, some of the things that I've done over my time in the server. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I've got some pretty neat things, some pretty basic things, and some fun things. I will, of course, give full credit where I can to anybody whose ideas I have gotten and stolen from. I will say so shamelessly because some of the best builds that I've found and some of the best redstone learnings that I've gotten are from other YouTubers on the internet, and I will talk about some of my favorites. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and hope you enjoy. For the first part of our tour, I'm going to give you a quick view of the outer wall of what was my industrial park at one time. It is now a haven for some good lucrative farms. It's also a testing area like for this here. On the Minecraft server we do have claims block protection, but chests can be opened and raided. So I've kind of had a forte of making some designs for some nice looking but safekeeping chest protection areas. I will be covering those in another video at another time. Let's talk about some of the things that I have over here. First off, my mycelium farm. Quite simply, silk touch shovel and some dirt, and you've got more mycelium than you need. This here was one of my first builds. It is a cocoa bean farm. I did that because I like making cookies when I first started playing on here. It uses a piston water system. These pistons hold back the water. It's fed by this torch tower here, and when you flip the switch, the water falls, washes them all down, and they collect through these hoppers into this chest. I have cleaned it out lately, so it's pretty empty, but you get a good 4 or 5 stacks on this one by the time you're done refueling and restocking it. So, coming over here, this was actually the first building I built on the server. It is my newbie hut. Used to have a bedroom in here, and it's right now just a mining area. So that's some fond memories of this little mud thing. So I never took it down. Over here is one of the glitch machines that you can find. I just wanted to see how it operated, but essentially it takes a 2-high flower and makes more 2-high flowers. Not really useful. Has a purpose, but not something that's really of value. But just a neat something. This one here was one of the first cow farms I built, the automated variety. Simple concept on this one. You can find a bunch of these on the internet as well. Feed the cows, babies fall, and when the babies grow up over here, you flip the lever and push the button, and it cooks them with lava, and they drop down into here. This one's very lucrative over the years, over the months, I should say. Very useful if you take the time to feed into it. This over here, this is my netherwort farm. This used to be my wheat and carrot and potato farm. You can basically farm anything on here, and I switched out the soul sand for what used to be dirt. Got 6 levels. Each one is 8 by 8, so you got a total of 64 blocks for each, so 1 stack per level. And then when you farm it out, you get about 6 or 8 stacks of wart on top of the restocking fee. So this is a very good farm for this kind of stuff because there's no way to grind wart like you do some of the other vittles. This again uses the piston water drop. It's fueled down below on the switch down there, and it causes the water to come down and fall. It surges over, creeps across, goes all 8. And then everything that is on here gets washed down and collected, washed down here on the ice, and then collected here in the hopper system. And like I said, you can get about 6 or 8 stacks after you reseed the whole thing. So this is a very good farm design, especially for those starting out. It's just very easy to use. Pistons, it's not that expensive to run, so it's pretty resource friendly. In here, we have the nano farm, and again, you can find several designs of this on the internet. It basically uses light mechanics and the dispensers to force grow crops and automatically harvest them, so you can get quite a bit of quick resources from one of these farms. And they're very, very useful for farming and for making bread and food, as well as stocking the store or trading with villagers. So I like this little design. I've incorporated in a couple other locations. I think probably after the first year, I did some favors for excuse me, the owner, and he graced me with a spawner. And so I took this spawner, he placed it here for me, and I made myself a grinder. Very simple. They fall 24 blocks or 23 blocks. They get hurt down to a one-hit kill. I come down on my little vine line there, step here in my little groove, and I strafe back and forth and I kill them off. And everything they have falls into the hoppers, which are underneath the carpet. I also set up a kill zone over here, so if I didn't want to go in and grind, or if they were hiding from me, all I had to do was push the button, which is right. I think I took the button out because somebody was abusing it. But anyways, there's a button switch, and once you flip it, everything gets shot. All these arrows come through and shoot through here, and basically line this thing with nothing but arrows. Kills everything in there. 2 or 3 shots. It usually cleans them out pretty good. I said to come down through the hoppers. All collects into these chests. You can see I can clean them out for a while. I get a lot of used armor this way. I like to fix it up and basically merge it together in the anvils and then give it to the new players, since they typically usually don't get a lot of armor. I do collect about a lot of XP this way though, and so I make a lot of enchanted books to make my own armor sets. So this is a nice little design, very basic in its concept for just the drop, but it's definitely been very, very useful for me. And of course, I like vines because you can jump and catch yourself at the very bottom and not get any injuries. So that was my little zombie grinder. I do have other grinders. I have a spider grinder and a skelly grinder, so I can get all those resources as well. But that's a very useful one. Over here, of course, I have. Beg your pardon. I got my little rabbit farm. I got a colored wool farm. I got a white wool. Now the cool thing about this colored wool farm is if you come down here, mind you, I know I'm in spectator mode, so it's going to be a little weird looking. I turned it off because I don't harvest here because I've got a different design that I found on the internet. But I used to have minecarts running back and forth, and they would catch as I shear the wool. It would fall into the ground, and the minecarts would come through, catch it, feed it into this item elevator, and then up across the top and come out here. Now I used to have a chest here, but now I have a sorting system, so if you look underground you can see I've got hoppers going all the way down. I will show you where that leads to, but I have it now so if I did use this and had the carts going, anything that they drop would fall into here and go to my automatic sorting system in another location. So I kind of like this because I like having the color wool for pixel art fans to build stuff with. So those are really nice to have. Going this direction, I have a small automatic wood farm. I wanted to try it. The design's okay. It's kind of nice to have something like this. You can just click, 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 kick the wood out. I do have plans for a bigger, better one that I got off of a very popular YouTuber by the name of Mumbo Jumbo. He did one in one of his Hermitcraft videos, and I plan on trying to duplicate it. This one just needs to be taken out. That's an old chicken farm, but the 1.8 redstone mechanics have kind of screwed it up. So I'm going to take that one out. I used to have a really nice melon and pumpkin auto farm, just an AFK automatic collectible. It was really slow, and I didn't like it. So I found that I could plant these in long rows like this and run up and down with a high efficiency axe. And I usually had silk touch even, so I could collect the melons whole. And I could triple the yield doing that in one day than I could for a machine that used to be over there by the glowstone. So I keep this one here because it just shows me that you don't have to have a super fancy redstone machine to make it useful, even though I do like my redstone. This here is more for nostalgia than for use. This is my chicken farm that I built way back in the 1.5 days. Very simple concept. It causes the water flow to go to the center block, which drips down. anything the chickens will lay the eggs and they'll fall down in there and they'll sweep through here. The advent of the hoppers made it a beautiful thing, so I didn't have to stand here and collect them all, and I didn't have to run the risk as much of it backing up so bad that it caused a server block, which happened to me once or twice because I let it run for a few hours, longer than it should have. But it's very, very lucrative with the eggs. So if you come onto the server, look me up, I'll be happy to give you some free eggs. Over here was another very common design. This used to be full of cactus. Back in the day, cactus was a sellable item to the server, so players could make a little bit of server money. And I had this thing running, and it did very, very well. Unfortunately, it did so well that I have about 12 double chests of cactus, and they are no longer sellable to the server. So I basically turned it off because I didn't need that much, and I didn't want to cause a backflow of cactus in here and cause lag. But it was a very simple design. It would sweep down into the water, which fed into an item elevator, which comes up here to the top, feeds into a series of chests, and allows you to gather it up. I apparently have some mobs dying in there. But here's some of my store of cactus, just more than a guy could ever use. I do have plans to try and make a cactus labyrinth, but that's a pipe dream, I'm sure. But hopefully I'll try to get a chance to do that someday. So that was there. Over here I have a older design but still fully functional automatic AFK fishing machine. Very nice to have. If you can fish for a period of time, you get some really good drops and of course some really rare things too. This one also feeds down into the hopper system, which goes to my giant sorting system, which again I will show you later. This here is one of my favorite builds. This was built completely in survival before I ever became admin and staff. I went for the Greek look, and I just loved the design. Originally had my sorting system here. Went from side to side and all the way around. Could hold up to 96 items if I remember correctly. But I took it out when I created the bigger one and finished up the floor pattern. And this is still one of my favorite builds of all time that I've done. I just love the design, the clean looks, the clean lines, and the Greek outlay. So much so that when we started creating our own shops, I had Pan help me and copy this so that I could turn this into a store. Quick look on the inside. Down here was just a little room that I had for an enchanting table and stuff, some storage. But come through up the stairs, come to the first level, and you get a really nice open view of the industrial park. You come up here to the top, you come up underneath the beacon, which is a real pain to get up there and build, but I like it. And even though I really don't need the buffs in this area because it's very remote and very well lit, so I don't get a lot of mobs, it is a very nice design. This beast over here is my gold farm. And this one took me a very long time to build. I did build it in survival. I have made some additions to it since then. But each column of obsidian is its own portal. So you have basically a series of, I think I got 50 portals going, 23 by 23. So the maximum size you can make it. I stocked it on the inside. I think I can go in here without porting. With some iron golems. And since iron golems hate pigmen, I got a lot of pigmen. They go around and they kill them. Looks like I need to restock my golems a little bit. But when they kill the pigmen, those drops port through to the other side of the nether portal where they are collected. And I'll show you that room here briefly. So that is a very, very lucrative tool and task for me. Over here, you have Tango Tech's iron farm design. There's been a lot of different farm designs. You've heard of the iron foundry, you got the iron trench, and you've got this one here. And I just really, really like the simplicity of this. There's no redstone to go wrong. It's real simple, very efficient, uses simple village mechanics. Hardest part, of course, building this was getting the villagers up. getting them up there, building a real high water elevator, and then porting them across. Was a real beast in the original design. And this one here, I was graceful. I had the grace enough to be able to get this sign brought over and world edited in there, just so I have that cool looking sign that I made earlier. But this is a very, very lucrative design. When I first made these things, when I first discovered it, I did a single pod like this, and it would feed straight down. More than enough iron for a single player. I have to go bigger and better and come up with a large design so I can have bulk. And so I came up with I just followed the entire tutorial and did 4 pods with the lava blade, which kills or brings the iron golems down here to be killed in the final lava. Very, very lucrative, and I'll switch to creative mode instead of spectator mode so I can show you. You click on that, and it is a ton of iron, and I've cleaned this out once. It is just very, very powerful for AFKing. It's just very nice to be staying over here in AFK. I made myself a little AFK station right there. If I go to work, if I go to sleep, I can let it run all night and get myself a nice little load of iron by the morning. So it's a simple water bounce AFK station. And then lastly, in this industrial park area, is my original villager farm. And I, of course, built this. It has been quite a long time ago since I built this. Got myself a couple of zombie villagers, did the whole fix them up thing, and been breeding them over yonder. Of course, the more you get, the more iron golems you get. But I breed them and I bring them across and put them in their little holes. But since the 1.8 changed all of the villager mechanics and the trading options, I've kind of let them just die out. I think occasionally a zombie gets in here and will knock one down for a bit before the golems get to it. But it was very, very useful and very, very paid off very well in the early days. Down here, thanks to my gold farm, I made myself a gold vault room, and of course, claim protected. Can't get through the iron door, that kind of stuff, so I don't have to worry about protecting the chest. But I basically had a little bit of everything that would be used for your villager trading. I think I still got some, got some sugar cane up there. And then, of course, the payoffs would be over here. And I think I cleaned most of these out except for a couple items to stock my store and to put other places. But this room has always been one of my favorites as far as just a simple design. I like the gold and the white, and it's very fun to have. So, and that is it for the first part of our world tour. This is the Dadrocks Industrial Park. It used to be a lot more in use, but now we have some other options. But I just really like the designs and some things here. I hope you enjoyed them so far, and we're going to move on to the next.